Hello, my beautiful friends. For those of you who are mothers of any kind, for baby mothers, mothers, stepmothers, happy Mother's Day. And for those of you who are hoping to become mothers, I'm wishing you all the best in light and love. I'm very honored to be the mother of two young men, and it's a blessing. I had a great day. We had my mother-in-law here, and her favorite thing, she doesn't want you to buy her stuff. And I'm the same way, so I get it. Her favorite thing is to spend time with her grandchildren. So we spent the whole day playing cards and eating, which is fabulous. We went to a breakfast, lunch, brunch buffet, and that my brother-in-law was running, and then we played cards, and then we had what I wanted for dinner, which was corned beef and cabbage. So, on holidays and special days, I always miss my parents. My mother will be gone 16 years in June. And, it still makes me want to cry because I miss her so much. We were very close. So, her last Mother's Day, we were living in Connecticut, and she was in a rehab facility, and the hope was that she was going to be able to come and live with us when she was done with recovery. But there was a time when we realized that recovery wasn't going to be possible. She probably would not come home. And so I knew inside that it was going to be her last Mother's Day. And so we didn't have a lot of money growing up, but the one thing that my mother loved to do was entertain. And she had fancy English dishes, and her mother had fancy English dishes. And then when my grandmother passed, my mother got all the fancy English dishes. And even though we didn't have a lot of money, my mom would set up for every holiday, a huge sit-down meal. And she would cook all the food, and she would save, for months for the money to buy the food. And then she would have a buffet later in the day for the shift workers at the steel where my dad worked. And she was just, the Scottish tradition of hospitality. My mother, was all about that, and I think I'm about that too. So for her last Mother's Day, there was her favorite thing was prime rib. She loved prime rib. So I went to the fancy restaurant in our small town in Lakeville, I think it was the boat house or the boat dock house or something like that. And I got all of the meal, and I explained to them what I wanted to do, and I took her fancy dishes, and I asked the facility if they could, do something with her roommate, but that I wanted to do this with my mom, and she really wasn't mobile out of her room. So I set up a fancy dinner, and she was really sick, and so she couldn't eat a lot. She really couldn't eat a whole lot. But I did all that. I had taken out all of it, and I set it all up, and we just had a nice little dinner. And again, she didn't eat much. She saved it. I got her favorite cake and all the things. And my mom died in June, so she died a month later. I'm so glad that I took the time to do that with my mother. Purge bell. Because I knew on the inside, as I often know, that her time in this world wasn't going to be long. So anyway, on days like Mother's Day and Easter, which was her favorite holiday, and her birthday, which is in August, and Christmas, and my birthday, I always miss her, and I always ask Spirit for a sign. And I don't always trust when I see signs, right? Like we've talked about this before, I don't always trust my signs. But the sign I asked for my mom, she wasn't not a fan of Cardinals, but she liked lighthouses. That's what she liked. But I always ask for either a cardinal, because I feel like that's something that Spirit can send, or I have a pond out front of my house, and I don't know how, because I never see them go in it, but every day there's plastic shopping bags in it, and my mother loved to go grocery shopping. It was her favorite thing in the world to do. So I would always laugh and say, "Oh, look, Mom sent us another shopping bag," right? And we would never see how these bags get into the pond. Are they floating through the air? How are they actually getting into our pond? So I was outside, and I was missing her, and I just said, Spirit, I would love to have a message from my mother. I would love to either see a cardinal or a new bag in the pond, that I know she's here with me. Now if you follow me on Facebook, I have a bird feeder with a camera in it. And I'm obsessed with the lives of my birds that live out front. And we have a squirrel named Grendel, and we have a rabbit named Thumper, and I have like names, and I make little stories up about these birds that come to my bird feeder. But I do not have cardinals. I never have cardinals. The only times I ever have cardinals is if I ask spirit specifically for signs of my mother and my father and my biological father. So it's happened a few times before. But last year we had a cardinal that was in our tree in the back, but I could never see it. I could hear it, but I couldn't see it. I have terrible eyesight, so I really can't see birds. I have an app that I use that I can listen for birds, but, and I would see the call, like I could see that, the Merlin app. It's fantastic. It's free. You should download it on your phone. But I never could really see the cardinal. But one time on Easter, I was so sad and I was crying, and I heard a voice in my head, go to the door, and I opened my door, and there were 2 cardinals on my porch, and there wasn't bird seed. I didn't have the bird feeder at the time. There's no reason for these cardinals to be on my porch, and I never saw them after that either. So it was so it was definitely a sign from spirit. So today I went out and I said, I had said earlier today, Mom, please send me a sign that you're here, that you're around. Didn't get anything. And so when my nephews came over, and my mother-in-law's here, and it was a great day, I told Dave, I said, I need to step out. I just need to go talk to my mom for a minute. So I went out and I talked to her, and I told her my niece is getting her law degree this Friday, and I don't know if she knows that I returned to bagpiping or not. I'm sure she does. But crying and being sad. And then I just did some deep breathing, and I look around, and I look to my neighbor's tree, and right by my face, not right by my face, but like in front of me, flies a cardinal, lands on the tree, faces me, and flies away. It's like, my mama was here. My mama came. So I looked up, why do we think cardinals, where did this idea come from, that cardinals are messengers from heaven? And I really couldn't find any good sources in the 12 minutes that I looked it up. But it's actually in a lot of different cultures that birds are messengers from the other world. And cardinals probably because of their their starkness. And I guess the word, the root of the word, for them, cardo, comes from a hinge. So I don't know why, and I don't know why I always think of a cardinal. There's like a million different kind of birds I could pick, but I always pick cardinal. And this other bird always comes around. It's a cat bird. And I'm like, my mom came back as a bird. She'd come back as a cat bird because she loved cats. So maybe, that could be a sign too. But I asked for a cardinal, and a cardinal came. And it didn't stay long. It was just enough for me to see it and then leave. But it was definitely, I felt like a sign from my mom. So if you know why cardinals are considered, more of a messenger from heaven than they said, it's true in Navajo culture and some other indigenous cultures, and actually all around the world, the cardinal is considered. Maybe it's because it's a snowbird also. I don't know. I don't know why cardinals, and I don't know why that's always the thing I ask for, either a cardinal or a bag in the pond. But there might not be bags around that energy can pull fast enough. So that's why I picked the cardinal, because I figured then, because I never see them, that would be, a good sign that I would, and I don't have great eyesight, so if it's going to be a bird, it's going to be one that I'm able to see. So cardinals I can see. So happy Mother's Day to my mama. Her name was Karen, but I called her Ruthie. Ruthie is the name of my Aunt Ruth, who died when she was 102, and she was a ornery pain in the ass. I loved her, but she was a pain in the ass. In comical ways, but also not. And so when my mother was being ornery, I started calling her Ruthie. And I'd be like, Ruthie, cut it out. And everybody where I grew up had nicknames. So her nickname was Ruthie, and I called her that all the time. And people would be like, but your mother's name wasn't Ruthie. No, it was for me. So she knew I was mad at her when I called her Mom. Oh, I miss her. What I wouldn't do to have her here with me today. So, I am wishing you all the best in light and love. Look for signs. look for the signs that are out there. I'm going to pull a rune for all the mothers, and just for something for us to think about as we, whether you're a new mother, or a mother forever and ever, or whatever your situation is. So I didn't pull anything out of, I didn't pull any of my stones out that I normally pull out. I just pulled out the stone that attracted me, and this is the little heart stone that Alicia gave me from Mexico. And so I'm leaving it at that. All light and love. Not everybody has a great mother. Not all mothers are great people. And if that's the experience you've had, I'm so sorry. And I hope that you have the opportunity to meet with people that can help you navigate those waters. My mother wasn't perfect. She made a lot of mistakes. Some of them I found out right at the end of her life, and it redefined my life. But I think she tried her best. And she certainly loved me and my brothers. And she was very proud of us. And I think she is proud of us too. So, wishing you all the best in light and love. Happy Mother's Day. Be well. Bye-bye.